Jerome Tang too. But now in studio, Midway All-State Offensive Lineman, now a member of the National Football League with the Rams, and former Kansas State star KT Leveston, who was on the show last week leading up to the NFL draft. Welcome back to Waco, young man.
Oh, yes, sir, man. It's a pleasure to be back here.
What was it like as the picks were counting down and there wasn't much time left on Saturday?
I mean, once it once about like half the seventh round went, I just was like, well, I mean, free agency isn't bad. Like, as long as, like, you get an opportunity is what you do with the opportunity. So I wanted to make the most out of the time, like, with my family, my friends that were there. So I got up from the TV and I just started, like, hanging out with them a little bit more, like, socializing a lot more. So, try to make the most of the moment.
So who's the first person you talked to? Was it Les Snead or Sean McVay?
Les Snead.
So he called up. What did he say to you?
Oh, man, it was crazy. He was like, hello, is this KT? I was like, yeah. He's like, this is Les Snead with the LA Rams. How would you like to come out to LA? And I was just kind of shook because what I was hearing back, it wasn't from the Rams. So I was expecting like a different pick. And I mean, like, it kind of took me by surprise, but I was like, man, this is a phone call I've been waiting for. Like, this whole period of time, like from January to now, like, I mean, everybody's always been saying, like, it only takes one team for dreams to come true. And I mean, they were the team, and my dreams ended up coming true.
Can you explain I can see it in your smile on your face, just reliving it, but can you explain the sense of relief? I mean, combined with, the dream coming true, just what is that? I don't even know what you call the emotion you were probably feeling, but relief and happiness and all of that rolled into one.
Oh, man, it was like my whole life just like basically was like on a playback in my mind. Mm-hmm. Like I knew like all that hard work, all the pain that I've been through, like everything that I've gone through leading up to this moment has paid off. And I knew like I was relieved like to hear that call, to know that I can get an opportunity to continue playing and get an opportunity to see my name go across that TV. And then my girlfriend, my grandma, my aunt, my sisters, like, I mean, they were just the looks on their face and their reactions were, I mean, just very inspiring because they know, like, they've poured so much into me. And just to know that, like, man, like, y'all don't have to, like, worry anymore. Yeah. Like, I got you. So
I would imagine there were probably some undrafted free agent, like, questions. Like, at that point, you probably teams calling and just kind of seeing what's up. But I've always heard, like, sometimes when you go late, it's almost better because you get to kind of pick where you want to go. But it means something to see your name on that TV, like you just said, doesn't it? To see, I got drafted. I mean, it would have been cool. You were going to go to the NFL either way, but to get drafted was a big deal.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of times, like, you hear, like, if you're leaving college and teams don't have a draftable grade on you, like, yeah, like, in a sense, yes, sometimes it's better to go as a free agent because you get to pick where you want to go. But at the same time, though, like, when you look at, like, contract-wise and everything, like, getting drafted is a little bit better just because and I don't know, like, too much into it, but I feel like you get more guaranteed in this, like, in different areas and stuff like that in your contract. So it's a lot of nuances around there. Yeah. So, I mean, I kind of let my agent, like, handle that and
sure,
just kind of fill me in a little bit. I ask him a lot of questions. Sometimes I feel like he may get sick of it, but
that's what he's there for. Yeah, right.
Hey, by the way, he's working for you.
Yeah, he's working for you.
He's working for you.
He loves it though. I mean, I keep him busy with a lot of questions. Like, I'm always loving to learn, like, new things and learn about different stuff.
I traded a Texter 5 with Jeff Hume over the weekend, and he was so thrilled for you. And you guys obviously know each other incredibly well from Midway, but he made this comment. He goes, back-to-back years with the Rams. And I'm like, Trey Tomlinson. You know him. You guys were teammates. Have you guys even spoken yet?
Yeah, so after I got drafted, Travis hit me up. He was really fired up. He said, hey, bro, we get to play back together. And I told him, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm excited, man. Like, he was the first thing that came to mind after the Rams called me. I was like, man, Trey plays for the team. Like, we going to be back on the same team. And then I have a former teammate from Kansas State, got drafted to the Rams in 22. And so he's on there. Then actually I have 2 former teammates, but one of them just got traded to the Rams this past year. He got drafted back in 2019, but I can't remember what team though. But he just got traded to the Rams. And then 2 of my coaches from last season are 2 coaches on that coaching staff. So I know a lot of familiar faces going into that team.
And they always say, Los Angeles and Waco, I mean, they're just like that. Same thing, basically, yeah.
Hey, I mean, with this traffic on 35, you can go ahead and say it.
Getting closer.
Yeah.
Getting closer.
What you guys don't know in the studio is Franklin and the Bridge and MLK, there's another wreck right there. There's like a fire truck and 4 police cars. And so, but you're talking 35 traffic. That was backed up over the bridge, which caused the delay too. KT Leveston, Kansas State, Midway High School, LA Rams with us right now in studio here on 365 Sports.
So the Rams made a big commitment up front on both sides of the ball in this draft. Their first 2 picks were on the defensive line. You will not get to block against Aaron Donald in training camp, which I'm sure that is like equal parts of a bummer and like, well, good. But you do, like Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, like the way that you're going to have this rookie class is all kind of getting better together. Like, how exciting is that?
It's an excitement because, I get to go up against the best of the best. I get to elevate my skills. I get to help other people elevate their skill levels. Just ultimately meeting new faces, like building new relationships, getting out there more into the world. Like, it's honestly a true blessing.
KT, where did the NFL dream originally start for you? I mean, the football dream itself. I always like to ask guys that. Sometimes their fathers were in the pros, and it's just a natural connection. Sometimes it's just, you stumbled upon it. What was your story for folks out there that don't know much about you?
So it's funny because, I've always been big growing up. So I played baseball, basketball, and soccer all the way up until middle school. And, everybody, I was always, towering over people. And to put it in perspective, when I was 11 is when I first hit 6 feet. And so,
Whoa.
Yeah.
And so,
I'm still waiting. I'm 44.
Almost there.
One day.
So everybody was always telling me, I always told my grandma and my mom, he needs to play on a football team. He can go play for my Pee Wee's football, my son's Pee Wee's football team, this and that. And I was like, I was like, oh, yeah, I want to play football. But my whole family, we were all basketball family. So when I got to my grandma, she always thought it was dangerous, so she wouldn't let me. But when I got to middle school, I was like, well, the middle school has a football team. Can I go out for it? Because, it's free. And my mom was like, yeah. So then I ended up playing. And I remember I lined up on the we were, trying out for positions. And you had to, run, 40 yards. And stuff. And so I lined up with the wideouts. And I remember Coach Bruce, he said, get that big boy off the line. And so that's how I got thrown in with the O and D line. And then I ended up playing D line from 7th grade to my sophomore year. And I just kind of fell in love with the game. And it was just something that, just kind of you stumble upon. And I love basketball still to this day, but I was a lot in more football condition shape to be actually make it. So I pursued football more, but I still played basketball my whole high school career and everything. But it was just something really it just came out of nowhere. But once I started taking it more serious was after my freshman year when colleges started noticing me a little bit more. Then going to my sophomore year and up, that's when I was like, oh, man, I actually have a shot to, get to college. And then once I got my junior year, once I started getting offers and stuff, then I was like, wow, I could probably, I can actually make it to the NFL someday. So then going to K-State, my first couple of years were a little rough here and there. I had a couple starts. I played in a couple games. But then, my last, 3 years, that's whenever I realized, wow, I can actually play in the league. So, and from there is just, kind of where I'm at now.
Very cool.
Craig brought up the undrafted free agent options, and sometimes it might even be better that way because your agent can find a better fit. But, you got drafted. That's great. You'll always be able to say that. Was there any time at all Saturday at all when anyone contacted him or he contacted you and said, hey, you might be going somewhere else? Was that just a dead period for you?
Yeah, so he was getting multiple calls from different teams, and they're kind of like, hey, like if we don't take this guy, like keep an eye on, like we're gonna give KT the call. So he's like, relaying messages back to me. Then they take another guy. Then another team says same thing. They take another guy. And so, it was a lot of back and forth. And then, I mean, every time my phone was ringing, like my family was like getting their phones ready, like ready to record. And I'm like, no, this ain't the call. That's just my agent.
Spam.
So, but it was towards the end, actually, right before the Rams got me, we were having a lot of discussion with the Broncos, and their coaches had called, and they were really wanting me, and they said they were going to use one of the last picks to get me. So then whenever, like, he texted me, he was like, hey, like, be on the lookout, like, because the Broncos are really wanting you. They're going to try to use one of these picks to get you. So I'm like, okay, like, if I get a call, I get a call. If I don't, okay, like, we'll figure it out. And so I'm, like, I'm talking with my aunt, and I just see a random number pop up on my phone. So I'm like, oh, this actually might be the call from the Broncos. So I pick it up, and the Les Snead with the LA Rams said, hey, this is LA Rams. And I was like kind of confused because I was like, the LA Rams? I thought he was like, saying the Broncos were going to get me. But I mean, being picked at 254, being from Waco, the 254. I mean,
I was going to ask you about that.
goodness,
Yeah. Well, that's just fate, right?
like, yeah.
254.
That was God's plan right there. So, I mean, everything works out in mysterious ways, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to give them my all, and I'm going to go try to win the Super Bowl this year.
KT Leveston with us in studio. So you mentioned to me you're going back to Manhattan. You're going to be here for another day. I think tomorrow you're going back to Manhattan, and you're going to go back to the grind, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Eventually your agent takes care of all your travel plans and everything else, and the Rams, of course, are going to set you up when you get out there.
Yeah. So, I leave tomorrow and I head back up to Manhattan. I'm going back to work out with my strength staff for about a week and a half. What he usually calls it, he puts us through the grease. And so I mean, I love it because, I mean, ultimately the grind never stops. Like, no matter, like, if I'm playing football or if I'm not, like, if you want to make it in life, like, you always got to, like, work hard. You always got to put yourself in uncomfortable positions to be great. And that's how, you just elevate yourself in life. And at the end of the day, like, whenever you're laying your head on your pillow, you got to ask yourself every night, like, man, did I give it my all today? So, that's what I got to go do.
Right on. Yeah, I mean, it just starts, like, the work's just starting, really. Yeah, right? I mean, you've worked to get here, but now you got to work more to keep it going. You were one of 3 players drafted. Ben Sinnott also got picked up, and Cooper Beebe as well, and Sinnott going to the Commanders, and then Beebe to the Cowboys, so they'll see each other in the division. But what's it like just seeing your teammates? I know you saw some guys last year, but what's it like to be watching and see their names come across and see where they're going now as well?
Oh, man, I was fired up when I saw Ben's name. I was fired up when I saw Coop, especially Coop, because, I mean, like, I'm close to both of them, but, like, our O-line group, we've been together for the last 5 years. With our right guard, he came in 2020. So he was with us for 4 years. And, I mean, we were always like, we built that special bond, that brotherhood. So when I saw Coop and then when I saw him going to Dallas, I texted him right away. I said, man, you're going to the greatest state in America.
Right, yeah.
See, he's going to probably play center there.
Yeah.
But he's not played center.
Yeah, so.
But you think he's going to have that unlocked?
Yeah, so him, like in what we do is we really pride ourselves on being real versatile. And for him, like, obviously he's played left tackle, left guard, right tackle. He hasn't had any live game center reps, but he's had a lot of practice reps at center. He knew that really coming back this last year that teams were kind of looking at him he could play guard, but they're mainly like, want to know if he can snap and stuff. So he knew that he was going to have to, like, prepare to be a center. So, I mean, all last year, like, he's taking extra reps at center. Like, if we finish up our script and then, we're getting some extra reps before practice ends, he may go in and he'll tell Gil, hey, Gil, like, you want to play some guard and I can play center. So, like, we were all switching different positions. Like, it'd be crazy. Like, sometimes if you come to one of our practices, I might go over to right guard, Gil might be at left tackle, and then Coop would be at center, Duff would be at left guard. Like, so just just so that way we know, like, okay, we can do this confidently.
You know, during those first couple of years you mentioned, the first year redshirted, Bill Snyder, of course, is who recruited you, and then the next year you played a little bit. Did you question yourself at all? Did you have days when you wondered, and how did you get through that time? Because you were coming out of high school as a star.
Yeah, it was tough. My freshman year, obviously, like, you know, I was like the man in high school, and then like going to college, like that was one thing. Like, you know, the older guys really preach. Like, I mean, everybody's coming from all over the U.S., but everybody on their team was that guy. So, like, you know, just going in there, like I had to kind of like humble myself, like really lock in to learn from those older guys, learn how they carry themselves, how they prepare themselves every day, and just listen to them when teaching me like the different plays and everything. And it was like, you know, learning the playbook under Snyder was it wasn't very easy, but you know, Snyder, like his staff, like they really pushed you, and they ultimately wanted to see like how much you could take before you can break. And I mean, that's like, you know, what builds strong men. And then once he retired, once his staff split, then coming with Kleiman, then having to learn a whole new playbook in 7 months, it was like, you know, another, like I was like, oh man, like this is kind of, I just learned the other playbook, like now I got to learn this new one. So it was kind of also a struggle too. But you know, Kleiman and Rouse and his staff, like they always told me like, man, like we believe in you and everything. So I just had to like, I was slow to like, you know, getting out there, but once I like found that belief in myself, I mean, it was no turning back. I was a pretty unstoppable player at that point.
KT, he is he kind of like, to me, it's funny. You look at him, and if you just watched him, you'd be like, oh, this guy's got to be like a psycho. He's going to be a grinder. He's like, he might be a yeller or kind of a grumpy dude. But then you talk to him, and he's like one of the more compassionate coaches I think I've ever come across, where he, like right after COVID, he would like, we're at Big 12 Media Days. He's like, you guys don't understand like what it's like to go to practice on Monday, see a guy and go, okay, here's what we're going to do. And then Tuesday, like, oh, you're not going to see this guy for 2 weeks. Like he's not going to be here. He's just going to be on Zoom. And the way that he talked about how that affected you guys as players and all of that, like it was very impressive to see like his like level of, yeah, if I have to ratchet up and be a crazy person, I can do that. But most of the time I'm just going to be exactly what they need me to be in that moment.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's a phenomenal dude. And like I said before, like he knows what to say in the perfect situations. Like it doesn't matter if we're having good days or it doesn't matter if we're having a bad day. Like he knows exactly what to say that's going to get everybody going and everybody that's going to have the ultimate 100% trust into him. And I mean, like he's a very compassionate coach. Like he's loving. He treats everybody like we're his own. He's going to give you his all. He doesn't want to, like, you know, like run it like, oh, this is like you do it my way or you leave. He wants, like, he takes ideas from players. Like, I know in 21, like, he was asking the captains, like, hey, what do y'all think about this, this, and this? Like, every single week we always have, like, a leadership meeting and we always have, like, a captain's meeting. And so it's, like, a select group of leaders on the team that the team has selected, and then we all go and meet with Coach Kleiman and a couple other staff members, and he opens the floor. He's like, hey, like, are there any changes that we need in the locker room, any changes in nutrition, recovery, the weight room? Like, what are y'all thinking? And, you know, we give them our ideas and our thoughts, and, like, we'll hear from other teammates too. We'll be like, hey, like, do y'all have anything that we may have to bring up to Kleiman? And they'll give us suggestions, and we'll bring them up. And he'll, like, you know, if he likes it, he'll go with it. If he doesn't, he'll, like, you know, try to, like, find, like, a middle spot of, like, where his idea is and where our idea is, and we'll try to meet in the middle somewhere. So, I mean, he's really, like, he's a player's coach. Like, he's 100% a player's coach, and that team is 100% the player's team. It's not his team. You
said you're going to go back to Manhattan. You strike me as somebody who's going to keep close tabs on the program once you leave. So you see all like the hubbub about a particular running back. Like, are you going to pay close attention to the gets and kind of the roster and things like that moving forward with the Wildcats?
Yeah, I I was pretty shocked to see that Dylan Edwards went back, but I mean at the same time, I know they need a lot of depth at running back. They got DJ Giddens out there, but I mean Jimmy White's on the come up, and then you got Joe Jackson coming up, and so. But I mean, who knows if DJ leaves after this year or if he comes back to play another year. But they just would need more depth here in the future because some of those running backs have maybe 2 years left, and if you can bring in a young running back that can produce for the next 3 to 4 years, and now in 2 years, now you can go look for like a freshman running back or a transfer running back. So that's going to be pretty good. But I mean, yeah, that program is as solid as it can be right now. Like I always tell people, like they're gonna compete for a natty next year, because especially with the 12-team playoffs, they're pretty stacked at wideouts. They're stacked on the defensive side. That running back room is starting to grow because you see, like Dylan Edwards, what he did at Colorado, bringing his talents back to Kansas. We wanted him originally, but
right, that's what I was referring to. It's the portal era, though, man. You can't burn bridges, right? Because you never know how you might wind back up where you started in some ways.
No, yeah. So I mean, those coaches still have a ton of trust in them, and I mean, guys like commit and decommit all the time. So I mean, you necessarily don't hold grudges right there. Now, if a guy were to do something bad to where like the coaches are like, okay, then no, then I guess they wouldn't bring him back. But I mean, he didn't do anything terrible. He didn't burn any bridges, so that's why they're bringing him home. And I feel like he's going to do a great job out there with DJ alongside with him too.
How explosive as a lineman was Avery Johnson, with all due respect to Will Howard, who could run and also did a good job now at Ohio State. But having Avery Johnson, did your blocks did they have to be as long, or did you just need a little crease and he was gone?
No, I mean, he's a fast dude, and I love Will to death. Like he's a brother to me, and he was a great guy. But I mean, he knows he wasn't the fastest dude out there.
He's just been lying, right? He's just like, dude, we can see. You're definitely not faster.
No, but with Avery, I mean, it was just if you open a hole, he's hitting it. So like, it was definitely fun. The best game I can say that you can kind of compare his running to was Texas Tech, where he had I want to say he had 6 touchdowns,
huge game,
5 touchdowns, something like that.
Yeah.
And so I mean, just open all you got to do is just open the hole for him, and he was gone.
Yep.
And so I mean, that kid picks up speed too. So I mean, if you're thinking I got an angle on him, nah, you better try to hit top speed. You're not catching him.
So we didn't get to ask you that meant you got to experience the Pop-Tarts Bowl, right?
Oh, yeah.
What was that like? It was, I mean, I'm not sure if you saw, I'm sure your girlfriend did, but the social media around that and the spectacle that Pop-Tart was. What was that like just as participating that week? And they seemed to make it fun for you guys.
Yeah, so the Pop-Tart Bowl, they did an amazing job with that bowl the whole entire week. Like, we got a chance to go to Universal. We got a chance to go to the fun spot and, meet up with, the local kids and play around with them. We got – what else did we do? Well, we did a couple things there. But they did a lot of, great things for us. The hotel we stayed at was amazing. And then just the game itself was phenomenal. Outside of obviously winning the game, it feels a lot better. But just playing in that game, that environment that they set up leading up to that game, it was great. I mean, NC State, their fans brought it, our fans brought it. NC State team, they brought their best game, and we brought our best game. So I mean, it was a very competitive game. They kept the crowd into it, and then that Pop-Tart running around, the mascot, man, he was awesome. We had kind of talked to him a little bit when we were on the stage, he was whispering to him, and dude is just hilarious in there. So
funniest post game I've ever seen. I mean, it was amazing.
And the Pop-Tart was good.
Yeah. Bet y'all had a lot of free Pop-Tarts that week, huh? Did you kind of have to watch it a little bit? They got too many Pop-Tarts.
Oh yeah, so in our players' lunch that they set up, every time you went down there, they had Pop-Tarts just sitting down on the table. So guys would grab a box, they'd have 50 to 100 boxes.
What's your favorite kind?
See, I'm an old-fashioned dude. I'm a brown cinnamon sugar guy.
There you go. Yeah. Frosted, unfrosted.
I wasn't.
You frosted or unfrosted on the brown sugar cinnamon? Like
Frosted.
Okay, yeah. There. I mean, we're same wavelength. Yeah.
Here's how popular they're getting. Jerry Seinfeld has a movie coming out
Yeah, he
this
does.
week.
He does.
About Pop-Tarts.
That's a crazy deal. We had John Kurtz. He was talking about, I think you had beaten Oklahoma and you were walking around on the field after the game. I don't like being doubted. I don't like you had a very emotional type of moment with that win. Do you remember that?
Yeah, man. I remember that win like it was yesterday. It was a very emotional win, and it was a statement on like that what that team was showing, like giving the Big 12. Like we're telling y'all, like Kansas State is coming. Like everybody overlooks Kansas State because a bunch of farm boys go there. We don't get the big flashy recruits, but we get the guys that want to come in, that want to work hard, that want to develop the right way. Like you look at like the OUs, the Texas, even like Baylor, TCU, like those guys get like 4 or 5-star guys. Like, I mean, yes, like I was only a 3-star, but I was like still a top recruit.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I think in my time there, we probably had 2 4-star guys come through Kansas State. And with Avery Johnson being one, and we had another quarterback that just transferred out, he was the other one. Everybody else were 3 stars, and a lot of guys didn't have stars. They had no offers. They came in as walk-ons and earned scholarships. And so, I mean, like going into that game, it was tough because we had just came off a loss to Tulane, which Tulane had a great year that year to beat USC
yeah.
in the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, and they won their championship or they lost? I can't remember.
I think they won. I think they did.
Who,
But
Tulane?
yeah.
They won the conference.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then
so-
played USC and beat them up at the
Yeah,
Cotton
so
Bowl,
I mean, like a lot of people, like they were ready to write Kansas State off after losing to them, which they had a great team, and so we, like, our quarterback, he didn't have the best game. Like the O-line, we didn't have our best game. So I mean, like online, like everybody's like, oh man, this O-line is trash, or this quarterback's trash, this offense is terrible. Like, what is Coach Kleiman doing? Like, so we were like, I mean, just delete Twitter, delete Instagram, delete Facebook, like stay off social media. Like, guys, it's time to work this week because, I mean, going to we ain't got nothing to lose. People already don't like us now. So we just went in there. We played our game. We played so free that week, and we had a great week of practice. And then, I mean, when we went out there, we were playing like we had nothing to lose because we did have nothing to lose because everybody had already written us off. And so, I mean, Adrian had one of his best games. Our O-line, I don't remember what we rushed for. I want to say it was like 300 or something like that. And so we had a really great game. And I mean, it was we didn't lose the game we didn't lose the lead the whole game. And I mean, their crowd was electric. Like I always tell people, like that was the best game I ever played. And that was awesome that I got that experience because I mean, they just did all the lights and everything.
Yeah, it's a cool place.
Like one of my best friends, he was an OU alum. And I tell him, I'm like, man, it was so lit because like whenever they would do the lights and stuff on a timeout, and like the crowd would just be like,
Oh yeah,
you. And like it was just like you could hear all the yelling. So, and we always joke about it as an O-line, like we get the play call, we couldn't hear each other, so we just be like, just put somebody in the ground, hit somebody. And so like it was awesome. It was an awesome experience, and I mean like after that game, like we wanted to let people know like, hey, we're coming. Like we mean business this year. And I mean, ultimately we went to go win the Big 12.
Yep.
Well, you're going to the NFL. Autumn is in the studio. You want to say hi to Autumn? Mention Autumn?
Hello, Autumn.
Yeah.
Autumn's my girlfriend.
Yep. Hello, Autumn. Glad you're in the studio with us. KT, remember the years at Midway and also what you did at K-State. Congratulations on getting the call. Enjoy the next week and a half, although it's going to be a grind, and then go out to L.A. and go represent the 254. I know you will. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. I
Great to
appreciate
see
y'all.
you. KT Leveston, Kansas State, now a member of the Los Angeles Rams from Midway High School with us in studio on 365 Sports.
It's Ram Truck Month.